So when it comes to self-improvement advice, people just love to say that you just gotta be disciplined. That if you are consistent for a long period of time, you are going to get whatever you want out of life. And, I can agree with that. I genuinely believe discipline is a big part of achieving your goals. And sometimes it's kind of hard. If I'm looking back to the time where I started going to the gym, and I remember how difficult, how much of a battle it was to move my ass to the gym 4 times a week, I just understand that discipline is sometimes hard. But what made it a lot easier, what kept me going and kept me going back to the gym, was the conviction that I was gonna look better, that I was gonna build muscle if I just kept going back to the gym. That was a fact. I was absolutely convinced of that. If you put in the effort, if you put the input in, you're gonna get the output. You're gonna get the outcome. Okay? So that was a fact. But here's my question. What if you didn't have that conviction? What if you weren't certain that your effort, your work, your energy that you're putting into something is gonna pay off, is gonna deliver the result that you expect? What if you didn't know that? Because here's how I look at it. I believe that discipline is just the physical act of showing up. It's just the physical part of taking action. But there's also a very important mental aspect which is related to how you show up. Because when you don't really believe that your effort is going to pay off, that's when your performance starts to drop as well. You're not that excited, you're not that motivated, you're not that locked in. Because you don't believe it's gonna pay off. You don't have that conviction. And again, that's when your performance starts to drop. And let me give you an example. So let's say you had a YouTube channel and you decided to post one video every day for 6 months. Okay? So far so good. It's a great goal to have. And at the end of the 6 months, you will definitely have improved your communication skills, like speaking in front of the camera. You would make more engaging videos and all of that. But there is no guarantee that your channel is going to perform well, or that you're going to get a lot of views, or that people are going to enjoy your videos. There's absolutely no guarantee that it's going to happen. So ask yourself this: how are you going to show up every day making those videos if you weren't certain it's gonna pay off? You're gonna get the outcome that you want. How are you gonna show up on day 167 if all the previous 166 videos have gotten barely any views? How are you gonna show up? Because probably you're not gonna be very confident, you're not gonna be very excited, and you're just not gonna be willing, or you're not gonna feel like putting your best foot forward. Because you're gonna think, what's the point? I've put my best foot forward for 166 days and nothing happened. Like, what's the point of keeping going like this? Okay? And honestly, that is what for me is one of the most difficult things in the world. Discipline is kind of easy. Just showing up is easy, but performing at a high level every time, even though you have all the past failures which suggest otherwise, that you're not gonna succeed, that is the hardest part of consistency, if I can say it like that. So, in other words, here's what I'm gonna say. One of the most difficult things in the world is believing that something is going to happen in the absence of any piece of evidence. It's precisely that uncertainty that I personally struggle with the most. The uncertainty, not knowing if something is going to happen. And yeah, I really struggle with that, but at the same time, I understand that people who actually win in life, especially in entrepreneurship or in the creator ecosystem, or even in relationships, like pursuing relationships and all of that, people who win are those who can tolerate that uncertainty the most and who won't be affected by it, who will see uncertainty as just a side thing that is just going to happen throughout the journey and not as an element of that will impact their performance negatively. I understand that, but yeah, at the same time, I find it really difficult. So if there's one skill or one mental thing that I would choose to work on right now to improve, it would be exactly this. Training myself to put my best foot forward every day, to think of every single new rep that I'm putting as a clean slate. Okay, to forget about all the failures from the past, forget all about the evidence of me not getting what I wanted, and just starting off fresh, just feeling like it's a brand new day, anything can happen. You know, that's what I would work on the most. And hopefully you've gotten some value from this video. We're gonna see each other into the next one. Peace.